Roberto Martinez, and you're watching Toffee TV.
Welcome to Toffee TV with me, Barry Cass, and today I'm joined by one of Everton's most iconic number 9s, a man who most of us believed could and probably still does walk on water. It is none other than Bob Latchford. Bob, welcome to Toffee TV.
Thank you, Barry. Good to be here.
Can you walk on water? That's a question that's being asked.
If only I could. I think I'd be a wealthy man if I could walk on water.
Be certainly a show worth seeing, yeah. Anyway. We'll start at the very beginning. Born in Birmingham.
That's right, yeah.
Local club, went to your local club.
Yes, that's right.
How did that come about?
Just basically through schoolboy football. Played for my, obviously school, would play for my county. Played for my district. It was district football then, South Birmingham boys. Then played for my county, Warwickshire. And I was picked up at 14 and asked to sign schoolboy forms, which I was a supporter. You know, my father was a supporter. My 3 brothers, the brothers was supporters of Birmingham City. So we used to go down there and stand on the terraces back in the 60s, late 50s, 60s. I'm having a tough time now, I know that. But, anyway, that's another story. But yeah.
So is that fantastic to say?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It's like any local boy, Liverpool or whatever. You're signing for your local club. It's something special. Yeah.
Fantastic. You obviously signed apprenticeship in those days. And I just want to ask you about this. We had Ronnie Goodlish on a couple of weeks ago, and he was talking about the youth players of today. Yeah. I still call them apprentices because when I was growing up, that's what it was. And they used to clean the stadium and do everything else. And obviously you had to do all that stuff at Birmingham.
Yeah, we did everything. In fact, apprentices were cheap labour. That's what they were. We were just cheap labour. We were there to try and learn our football trade, but basically they used you as cheap labour to do all the work around the ground and at the training ground, you know, paint it and sweep it and whatever. So in that respect, I'm not bothered that doesn't exist anymore.
Right, okay.
That part of it. And maybe other parts of being an apprenticeship, which maybe still be appropriate as even today, maybe. But times change. You got to move on. You got to accept that they don't do these things anymore.
No.
And don't do a lot of things anymore. I remember the days we had to knock on the door at Birmingham to go in to the first team dressing room, and you called them Mr. So-and-so and Mr. whoever, because if you did anything other than that, you'd get clouted. They would clout you. So that's the way it was. You have to give them respect. Yeah. Because they were the pros. They were doing it. Yeah. It's what you wanted to do, and they expected respect as well. Yeah. So.
From that, I suppose, from that perspective though, and from that point of view, that's where it has changed now. I signed for Everton as a youngster as well, and that was similar to us. We couldn't go on the first team dressing room without knocking or someone like Pat Van Den Hauwe or Graham Sharp and grab hold of you.
Right.
But nowadays they're driving around in cars at 17 and things like that. So do you think it doesn't give them the same grounding as the likes of what you had, and they therefore probably appreciated it more when you broke into that first team?
Very possible. It's very possible that's a point of view that I think holds water a little bit. Yeah. But as I said, you've just got to accept that times are different. Not only just in football, but within society. It's totally different. And attitudes have changed to an awful lot of things in society, as well as in football. So they are what they are now. Obviously, there's vast amounts of money to be made, even at a very young age, and it's been able to cope with that. And if you haven't got a good, stable family and friends and around you who can keep you grounded, it
becomes difficult.
It can become very difficult.
Back to you then, away from that. Your debut for Birmingham City, what was that like, making your debut?
Oh, terrific, yeah. I think it was March March 1969, on a very wet Tuesday evening against Preston North End. And one of Everton's former centre forwards, who's for me, very underrated, but who's, I feel, one of a true gentleman, was played centre half that evening. Fred Pickering. Fred Pickering. Fred was centre forward at Birmingham, and I literally took Fred's place over the coming years. But he played centre half that night against Preston, and he was the first person to come up to me. I scored twice. He was the first person to come up to me and congratulate me, and he was sincere. He's a lovely, lovely man. I've met him a few times, one or two dues over the years. He's a lovely man, even now, and much underrated by Evertonians, I feel. He's super centre forward. His goal scoring record is very good.
Fantastic, yeah.
Very, very good. And he's a super man. Lovely, lovely man.
Well,
he, as I said, he was the first player to come up to me when I scored. As I said, I scored twice on that evening. I think we won 3-1 or 3-2. So, yeah, it's one of those nights to remember.
It's not a bad player to make your debut against as well,
yeah.
That's for sure. So obviously you've done well at Birmingham City. I think you finished with 68 goals in 160 games. That's not bad.
It's not bad. It was okay. Could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. But it was okay. I'd like to have got through the 100 barrier, but
it wasn't to be.
So just have to accept it.
A club like Everton come knocking on your door. So how did that come about?
It really came out of the blue. To be honest, out of the blue. Freddie Goodwin, who's the manager at Birmingham, just rang me up one morning. I think we were supposed to, I don't know whether it was a day off, it may have been a day off, midweek, and he said, Everton want to talk to you, I'm coming around to pick you up. And that was it. And he drove me up the motorway, somewhere past Stoke, I think. And it's the first time I met Howard Kendall, because Howard was there, because he was talking to Birmingham.
Yeah.
So we sort of passed and nodded at each other, and I went in one room, he went in the other. And after about half an hour, I'm not sure how long, I came out, he came out, and we passed each other again. And I said, everything okay? He said, yeah, you? I went, yeah, fine. And that was basically it. Nice. And back down to Birmingham. That evening I was sitting with my then wife Pat, and it must have been 11 o'clock, easily, maybe. Get a knock at the door. Turned to Pat and said, who's that this time of night? Anyway, go and have a look. And open the door, and Big Roger Hind, Birmingham centre half, is standing outside. I said, hi Roger, what do you want? And he said, have you signed? Have you signed? He said, because Shanks wants you. Shanks wants you. Now, Roger Hind is Bill Shank, well, he's Bill Shankly's nephew.
Oh, right.
So there's a bit of a family connection. So obviously, Liverpool must have got wind of what was happening, and Shanks obviously got in touch with Roger, and Roger came round. I said, oh, Roger, I've signed, it's a done deal. Then he said, oh, okay, and then we exchanged a few, words, said goodnight to him and walked back in and told Pat, and said that was Big Roger, that Bill Shankly at Liverpool wanted me. And she said, how do you feel about that? I said, I feel okay about it because, I've signed, I've made the decision, and I've done what I thought was best. And I always say to Evertonians when I relate this little story to them, that remains true now as it did then. Right. I've never regretted that decision about signing for Everton. So.
Fantastic. I thought you were going to say you did then. So you joined Everton, obviously Howard Kendall went the other way, and Archie Styles, who was part of that deal as well.
That's right.
And I read somewhere Birmingham only got 80 grand out of it in the end.
Because obviously the players exchange. That's right. Yeah.
So your Everton debut, do you remember it?
I do, against West Ham,
Wasn't a winning debut?
Don't remember too much about the game. We lost I think.
4-3.
4-3, didn't score. Georgie Toffee, I think, got 1 or 2 maybe. Wasn't quite what I was hoping for, to be honest. Because you'd like to get off to a good start straight away, but didn't happen. Then played a home game. Next game, again, I'm not sure who we played, but again, I didn't score. So you start to think, when you're going to score, because obviously I've come from big money and
big reputation.
Yeah, reputation, and the supporters are probably thinking, when is he going to score? Sort of thing. But we went to Leicester and we won 4-1, 5-1, and got off the mark. And from then,
plain sailing.
Well, I wouldn't say plain sailing, but certainly things improved dramatically, and I got into a rhythm, and for the next 5-6 years, it was really what I wanted. Everything apart from not winning anything. Everything else about being at the club was everything I thought it would be. So it was a delight and a pleasure and a thrill just to score either here, at Goodison or around the country. So
I was watching some YouTube videos of you, and obviously that QPR game, you scored 4 goals. That was some great crosses from Dave Thomas in that game. It was one of the memorable games, wasn't it? Moving on to 77, 78, obviously the League Cup finals and things like that. And what was that like? Because that was obviously the closest we come to win something while you were here.
Yeah, we came close on a few occasions, starting in 74, 75 actually, when we should have won the league. And we were beaten home and away by Carlisle United. And if we'd beaten them home and away, we would have won the league by 1 point. And I always...
Didn't they get relegated as well?
Then they got relegated to boot. And I always contend with that if we'd knocked that first one over, we would have knocked the others over as well, and maybe more. But we didn't quite knock that first one over, and we just couldn't do it the rest of the time. And we had another 2 or 3 chances. Obviously, the League Cup final, which we really should have been capable of beating Villa over 3 games.
You scored in both replays, didn't you?
I scored in both replays, yeah.
What was that like as a Birmingham support and lad losing to Aston Villa?
It wasn't. It's the only. It's not nice. It's like an Evertonian playing for
someone else
getting beat by them. It's the same thing. Villa, because I never played against Villa at Birmingham.
Oh, right.
Never ever, because they were always below us.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So I never played in a derby, Birmingham Villa derby. So I never had that to fall back on. But yeah, we were more than capable of beating them. And even that 77, 78 season, we were in with a shout of the league.
The league as well.
We screwed up over Christmas, New Year, got set back. But to all fairness to Forest, they wrapped it up nicely. You'd never get a provincial team now coming out of the old second division or championship now and doing what they did.
No,
you'll never see it in a million years.
At that time,
it was. You could do it. It was.
It was about building teams, wasn't it? Now it's more money oriented.
It is. So you got that final. You got the semi-final against Liverpool.
You didn't play it?
I didn't play him, but I got injured 2 weeks before at Derby.
Did Brian Hamilton handle it?
No, he didn't. No. And Clive Thomas doesn't know to this day why he gave that. He just did it because he just likes being perverse, the man. He's done it on a number of occasions. He did it to Brian Hamilton before, actually.
Had he?
In a FA Cup semi-final. I'm sure it was an FA Cup semi-final as well, when he was playing for Ipswich.
The same thing?
Yeah, same thing. Obviously he did it, Brazil in the World Cup.
Yeah.
The man just liked to be the centre of attention. He really does.
Ronnie Goodless said the same thing. Obviously, he put the crossing for it, didn't he?
Yeah,
yeah. And if you'd have been playing that day, it might have been different. You might have.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I keep thinking that because I think we would have ended up beating Man United because we'd beaten them in the April at their place 3-2, I think.
Right.
So we would have been confident beating United in the final.
Another thing Ronnie said while he was in was about Peter Shilton, because at that time Everton were very close to getting Peter Shilton. There was a couple of clubs, and he felt as though, and this has been a question from someone off Twitter as well, but he felt as though if Everton would have been able to get Shilton, they probably would have won the league. Do you subscribe?
75, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You have no disrespect to the keepers we had, but if you have a world-class keeper like Southall, they win you games. They save you points. And funny enough, Billy Bingham said to me when he signed me that he was going to sign Schultz. It never happened. Never happened. And who goes in and gets him? Toffee for Forest. And what do they end up doing? Winning 2 league championships and 2
European Cups.
Yeah.
And that is the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's those small differences which dictate whether you end up winning something or not winning something. And if we got him in '74 when I came, I'm convinced that we would have knocked over that first one.
Yeah.
And the others would have followed.
Typical Everton, very close to it. So near but so far away. That obviously everyone talks about the 30 goal season and that nice little prize on offer at the end. And we all remember the penalty against Chelsea for the 30th goal. Did Mike Lyons dive to get you that pen?
I don't think he dived, but he certainly made the most of what was probably be considered a fair challenge in those days. You know, let's put it that way.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
you knocked it in. So that was your 30th.
Yeah.
Who was your first against? Can you remember? Put you on the spot now.
It could have been QPR. No?
Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, really?
It was your third game of the season.
Was it?
3-0 win.
Was it?
That was your first one. So what were you doing for the other 2 games?
I don't know actually. I honestly thought it was 4 games before I scored. It was only 3.
Maybe it was 4, but it was
I know.
According to the records, it was Sheffield United.
Sheffield United, really? I don't remember it.
So there's one for you. Your first one was Sheffield United, and your 30th one was Chelsea.
Yeah. You remember the last one?
Yeah.
The first one, no. I have no recollection of the first goal.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
What was it like taking the penalty for that? Because obviously 10 grand in those days was a big thing. Did you think about it as you're stepping up, or did you want the 30?
No, it was the 30.
It was just a great number for the striker.
Yeah, just getting the 30.
Yeah.
The money was not really important.
Secondary,
but it's just the 30. And I was very calm. I was very calm all day. I woke up very calm,
right.
Which is unusual because I always have a little bit of tension there.
Right.
You know, butterflies and depending on the game, you know how big they are. But that day, nothing. Just total calm.
Did you always know you were going to score it?
Yeah, I knew I was going to get the 2 goals. I was going to get the 2 goals. No matter whether they came early or late, and they came late, I was going to do it. So I was probably the calmest person in that ground that day. Everybody else was actually.
How are you going to do it?
Yeah, but it was a really good achievement. And it gave the fans something to shout about, and even now with how many years later? 30? How many years later is it now? From 78? Come on.
Yes, 77.
Yeah, how many years?
So
has it been?
30 odd years.
30 odd years, yeah. We're still talking about it. Yeah, 35 years. We're still talking about it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it means something not only to me, but to other people as well. So,
fantastic. That year, the 78, we finished 3rd. So how close were we to
again,
that team?
that's what I'm saying. You know, over that Christmas, New Year period, that really slowed us down because we'd gone 19 games or whatever unbeaten. We started badly actually because we lost 2 games. I think we lost against Forest the opening game, and I think we lost again out of the next 2 games we lost. So you take away those 2 games and the 2 games over Christmas, and he probably got the difference in terms of
where we finished.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Again,
people look at it. I mean, you know, we've said this before, and people look at the 70s. I think probably because what happened in the 80s, how well. People look back at the 70s as if we were really poor. But I've got, from when you joined, we've had a 7th, a 4th. We had 76, 11th, 77, 9th. But then we had 3rd and 4th, and then obviously 1980 we had a bad season. We finished 19th. But you know, those top 4 finishes, 3, 4 top 4 finishes in 6, 7 years. You know, Champions League now.
Of course, it would be
delighted with it.
They would be, but back then you had the spectre of that lot who just really came to grips with things for the next 10 years or whatever would be the dominant force, and they were more or less dominant then, but they went on to be even more dominant.
Obviously, looking at the placings and everything, we were quite close a few times, and then we fell away under Gordon. You know, obviously Swansea then came in for you. How did you feel about leaving Everton at that time?
It was very difficult, obviously, very, very difficult, because we were very settled here. We loved it. A couple of things I just felt, you know, I'd come to the end of the road. I'd become a bit stale, and had a bad injury with my hamstring in 80, 81. I missed most of the season, and Sharpie was coming through, you know, so he a young lad, and you could see that he was going to be the business. So you know, it's time to move on, sort of thing. So but it was really tough to leave, you know, for the family as well. But Swansea came in, you know, they just got into the first division, so still playing first division football. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try. So.
Had the goods. I mean, you left Everton with 106 goals in 236 games, which is fantastic. Swansea, 35 goals in 87 games, so still a really good record. But one of the games I actually remember is a young lad stood on the street end and was we beat Swansea 3-1. He scored for Swansea, and the street end jumped up and celebrated, which is a bit bizarre. Probably wouldn't happen nowadays. But how did that feel? Because obviously coming back to Goodison, I think it was your first game back at Goodison.
Yes, it was. That was really odd. Actually, it was odd scoring against Everton for another team. To be honest, and the fans' reaction was even odder. You know, you're thinking, what colour am I wearing or something? But yeah, it made me feel very proud that the fans gave me such a reception when I came back with a different team, because I think it just cemented the fact that I was in their hearts as much as this club is in my blood. Nice. You know, so it sort of cemented that two-way thing. So
definitely. I read something the other day, and I wasn't aware of this. Something Howard said that when we bought Andy Gray back, it was actually you were on his list to bring.
Yeah, I know. He said that to me. Yeah,
it was you and Andy Gray, and there was another. I can't think of the Thursday, but. Were you aware of that at the time? Or
no, I wasn't. No.
Right, okay. No. Would you have come back if he'd have come calling? Obviously, it's difficult to think back.
It's difficult in hindsight to think.
Given what happened.
Given what happened, yes. You see the whole thing. But that's a difficult one to answer because circumstances. But.
Nice that he thought, because you just kept passing each other, didn't you?
We did, we passed each other for Birmingham, and then he came back and I left.
And you left,
so we sort of like ships passing in the night. But I used to spend, because I moved into the same road as Howard.
Nice.
So I got to know him a bit. So I spent 1 or 2 happy afternoons in his back garden.
Nice, okay.
Talking, you know, chewing over things, and you know, so I got to know the man a bit. So
it might have happened.
It might have happened if he'd been serious and came, actually made contact. Then I would have had a decision to have made. But it didn't happen, so I can't make hypothetical decision. That's the problem.
I think I'm going to say he would have come back. He'd have come running back to be part of it. You'd also had the spell in Holland with Breda. What happened with it? Again, Ronnie Goodlush, another.
Ronnie was there before
me. He was there, yeah.
Ronnie was there before me. Yeah, it was more or less at that time almost a semi-pro club.
Nice.
Really. They are now obviously a fully established professional club, but it was more or less run on the semi-pro line, where they had a number of players who were full-time and a number of players who were like part-time, who had jobs and came in and trained. But again, it was a lovely club, very friendly people. Win, lose or draw, they partied.
That's the Dutch can.
Yeah, it's the Dutch can. And only as a Dutch can.
Only as the Dutch can,
So they parted, win, lose or draw. So it was, okay. But
was that just the one season, 13 and 16?
It was just half a season.
Half a season.
Yeah, so I was 13 and 16, and then they got promotion back to the first division. I wish I'd stayed. Actually, that's another place where I probably should have stayed another season, because I made a decision to come back to Coventry, which was not a good decision. One of my poorer.
Not one of your better ones.
No, one of my better decisions. No, definitely not. So, but you make decisions in life. You have to live with them. So I have to live with the fact that I went to Coventry.
Got sent to Coventry.
Got sent to Coventry. Yeah.
And then obviously Lincoln City and.
Actually, my wife came from Coventry.
Oh well, there you go. So, there you go. You went back there.
She wasn't enamoured of the place, so
no,
she didn't like it.
She didn't like it either. And also capped for England. 12 times and 5 goals again. Another good rate.
I've always felt with England that I should have played earlier. When I first came to Everton in '74, I was ready to play for the full side. I was playing under 23 level. When I was at Birmingham, but for some reason Alf Ramsey wouldn't put me in, wouldn't push me up. I don't know why. He just wouldn't do it. But I felt ready and capable. But you have to look back at that era and look at all the centre forwards that were around. There were a hell of a number of centre forwards to get past.
To get
in there. But I felt I was as good as any. I was scoring goals, but it didn't happen. And Don Revie took over. And funny enough, I was reading something about Schultz, and Schultz never played under Revie, right? He was in the squads, but never played. He played Clements, but I never even got in the squads. Revie just totally disregarded me. So it wasn't until '77 when Ron Greenwood took over that I got a chance, and I always felt it was a little late, a bit too late. I just thought, 3 or 4 years earlier, I could have had it.
More of an. But then again, 5 and 12 not a bad.
So you take the 12 caps and you take the goals.
I think you'd get in now, because we haven't really got an English centre forward to call our own. Really, we're struggling a little bit in that. Moving forward then to current day, obviously with Everton Swansea at the weekend. I think. What have you made of Roberto Martinez taking over Everton?
I think he's done extremely terrific job. He seems a very bright man, knows what he's doing, very well respected in the game. I think you have to just look at the clubs he's been at. If you ask people, the fans at those clubs about Roberto Martinez, you'll get a positive reaction from, I would think, everybody.
Particularly Swansea, where it started. They're the model at Everton.
That's right.
Going through the football.
He's done a terrific job. He's attracted players, which I think even some Evertonians would be thinking, we've got
to get him in.
So he can attract players. I said before, one or two people before, the big key is going to be like with us. He moulded a good outfit, a good team. You just need to knock over that first trophy.
Something David Moyes couldn't do.
That's right. Got so far, couldn't knock over that first one. I think he may have more of a chance with the players he has, and hopefully with the players he'll bring in over the next year or two. But yeah, I think he's done a terrific job, and long may it continue. And let's just hope that we get a little bit of luck and they knock over a trophy, because he's won the FA Cup with him, so he knows how to win things. So.
Out of the current Everton side, do excites you when you watch them?
Ross Barkley. Yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt. But the lad's got so much talent. If he continues to develop and listen and learn, he could turn into a really first-class player, not only for Everton but for England. But you got a number of players there. John Stones done well. Morales, obviously pulled an hamstring, but good player. Lukaku, big strong boy, knows how to score goals. Just needs to learn more about his game outside the box and develop. He's a young boy.
Onto the last year about him. Yeah. To me, when you watch him, he's trying to flick too much stuff, and as the focal points, someone like yourself who protect the ball.
He's going to need to protect it more and bring other players into the game, and need to learn about when to run off and get it in behind and whatever.
But hopefully with that too, and people like that.
Certainly that was a good buy, bringing him in, because he's got vast experience of top level football. If he's going to learn, not only obviously with the manager, but obviously with other players around him, he's going to learn from the likes of that. That's all. So that was a shrewd, wise move, bringing Spin in to help development with the big boy.
Yeah, fantastic. Hopefully he can carry on. We'll have a few questions for you that people have tweeted into us. This is from A.F.C. Graham. Says, how do you think you would do in the modern game, given it's almost a non-contact sport at times now? How do you think you'd cope?
It'd be a lot bloody easier than it was in my day. I think, well, if you consider the physical contact that we had to go through to score goals, and you don't get it now, work that one out. Tell me.
So you might have got 60 then, you might have got up close to Dixie Dean. How would you deal with Ryan Shawcross? Just because he likes the rugby challenging in the penalty area. Would you think you'd lose your rack? You see some players like remember Fellaini giving him a little bit of a dig when he had hold of him. How would you?
How would I deal with him? I'd probably ignore him actually.
Would you?
Yeah. Just ignore him, because he's only doing it to upset you, and there's no point. If you get upset, you lose it. You lose
what you're there for.
What you're doing. So you have to stay focused and ignore
the best way.
Silly people around you. So.
Okay, here's one from Dave, the Toffee who's been on. If you could choose to score a derby goal you didn't score yourself, which one would it be? But you can remember in Everton, obviously Everton, Liverpool. Is there any that you've seen that you thought I wouldn't have minded that being me?
Probably all of them actually against Liverpool.
Big thanks to Bob Latchford for joining us this week on Toffee TV. Make sure to catch him in the lounges in the Everton versus Swansea game. Also in the Players' Lounge on County Road after the game.
This is Bob Latchford and you're watching Toffee TV.